Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Uh, I threatened to go live on Christmas Day just for a little bit. I'm not going to go very long, just to say hello to everyone, wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Talk a little bit about where we are with YOM during this break. I mean, I say break because it's not really a break for a lot of us. We've got our tech team is actually working. They worked first 2 days this week. I think they're down today, but then they're going back at it tomorrow. Not for any kind of rush, but because they're kind of excited about what all we're doing now. So we're helping our partners tweak the sample game. So when the Alpha Network goes live, and again, we're still kind of talking about let's get it going before the end of January. We have a nicely tuned game that plays very well and shows off exactly what we can do with this network, and how this is the start of a change to the way the internet runs. I'm going to pull this a little bit closer to make sure that you guys can all hear all that. Yeah, doing it live. Let's do this. That always works better. So it's an exciting time for us because all the stuff we've been doing with Peak for the past 2 months have just brought in our socials have scaled like a crazy amount. We get a lot more people paying attention to it, and that has translated. If you watch our chart, we don't talk much about our token. Generally, there are some things that prevent us from doing that, but pretty happy with the rise we've seen since November. So I'm not going to complain at all about that kind of interest. But that I think we can tie that to the increased interest in the deep in space entirely, which we feel like Peak is doing a great job leading the way. We've said at the very beginning when we first started partnering with them, and I said this from the stage in Singapore, that having a chain, a layer one that's focused on delivering the technology that supports the machine economy or the deep in space and being solely focused on that it's a smart thing to do, and it's a good thing to get involved in, and we're certainly feeling it here in the first few months of ad participation, which is part of their socials and their campaigns, which again has brought so many people into our social spaces that we've seen just increases in Telegram, in Twitter, in our YouTube followings. As a matter of fact, if you haven't started following us on YouTube, I would suggest right now subscribe and turn on notifications, because we do the town halls every week. I feel like they're worth paying attention to. We got some big names lined up for the first quarter next year. But even just these, I think that it's kind of fun to get online and talk. And I have, when I'm doing these streams, either with a guest or like I'm doing right now, I have my chat open. So if you type in a question, either in YouTube or in Twitter, because it's broadcasting live to both of those, it pops up on my screen, and I can see the question, and I'm happy to take some questions. I'm not going to go very long today because I do have family that's going to be showing up here in a little bit. We did do the whole Christmas thing this morning. My son, who people have heard me mention him a number of times, he's 13. Big gamer. He's very excited about running a node himself. He's been firing at me all kinds of questions about, is this a better graphics card or that one? And I keep on telling him, that's part of what our tests are. But right now, 4060 Ti sounds pretty good, but 49 is also available. Anyways, he's very excited about speccing out a machine and then building one for himself so he can have a node that he can earn enough of his own money. Anyway, this Christmas for him was getting a force feedback steering wheel and with foot pedals, so he can play some. He's up there playing a bus driving game that's been built in Unreal, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to be getting Forza Horizons 5. Don't tell him. I don't think he's paying attention to this, but he's getting that in a couple of hours. So that's going to keep him locked on his computer for, I think, next week or so. So anyways, Christmas is so I can't stay very long. And I'm told, I was told some feedback was, hey, that guy Jeff seems like he knows a lot of stuff, but boy, he can go off on some tangents and lose the thread. That is absolutely true. I can lose the thread from time to time because, again, there's just so much to talk about. But I'm going to touch really quick on why it is so exciting as we sit back and as I write essays and I talk about to people in my family who are asking, what are you up to now? What's this business you're a part of? When I explain to them where we see what's going to happen with the internet in the future, right? How the transformation of the 2D websites will coincide with a lot of websites that'll be 3D. And for them to be beautiful 3D sites, they're going to want to be built in Unreal. For them to be built in Unreal and stream at a low enough cost for the developer, they have to be put on a decentralized network. We're that. And then coupled with Metagravity and their serverless architecture, we can they boast up to it's more than 10,000 people in the same shard, right? Which is crazy good. So we're talking now about transforming the internet for those people who want to be a part of this as a 3D internet, 3D shared space for things like gaming, but then also social spaces and commerce and all those kinds of things. It's going to be very, very exciting. We're happy to be a part of it. And again, playing a part, building an important segment, but not thinking we can do the whole thing ourselves, because truly it's going to be a big undertaking. We're partnered with the BGA, the Blockchain Games Alliance, and OMA3, who are working on standards for the 3D internet. Having all those things, all those people around us, all those organizations around us to help us fashion what we're doing, it's just important to be a team player, I guess. And that aspect that we talk oftentimes about, the differentiator for ourselves and the way that we're doing it, as opposed to, say, Steam or the Epic Store, is that we aim to be able to deliver these 3D experiences through a URL, like through a regular web browser. So it doesn't take a high-end PC for someone to be able to experience it, and it doesn't take a subscription fee, right? We've oftentimes said it's very much like the way that YouTube works now. YouTube, if you're a content creator, you put your video up on a YouTube, on your YouTube channel, but you don't pay anything to put it up there. YouTube's advertisement model pays all those fees. Our system was going to be very similar to this. So what we see in the long term is people who are creating experiences on Unreal, and again, those tools are just getting easier to use. We've partnered with a group that's making an aggregator site, but really we're just going to be able to feed every 3D experiences through a URL, through this aggregator, at no cost to the creators. So for people like my son, I keep on pushing them, learn how to use Unreal, because it's going to be the keys to the kingdom. Right? There's going to be all kinds of great storytelling. It's not just games, right? It'll be storytelling. It'll be probably episodic games. It'll be a lot more genuine experiences. I was listening to something this weekend about how Hollywood is trying hard to mimic the independent film industry, because people are looking for authenticity, right? And you get that from independent films. If you're a fan of movie making at all, the blockbuster season this year was just atrocious. Like Hollywood's losing money left and right. Where money is being made in entertainment in the movie space is independents, right? They're getting a lot of, the budgets are lower, but the genuineness and the storytelling and the craftsmanship is all there. And my thesis is that it's going to happen the same for games. You're going to see these big time gaming studios trying hard to mimic what independent gaming studios do, but the independent gaming studios are already nimble and they can take risks, and their processes are better for developing new gameplay mechanics and new experiences. So you're gonna see that what they're really lacking is that ability to get those experiences out to more people. So again, we feel like we're playing an important part in that space. One second, I'm gonna mute. Can I do that? I can mute myself. Yep. It was not an early night for us to help Santa Claus do his rounds. So another reason why I'm not going to be staying on this very long today, because got to catch up on some other things as well. What else did I want to touch on? So I touched on that. That's kind of it. I again, hoping that there'd be some people who are paying attention and maybe want to throw some questions our way. If that doesn't happen, that's fine too. Very excited about where the next year is going to bring us. Very excited about how we play a part in helping the gaming industry. I'm not saying get to a new level. I guess what I'm saying is modify the model to react to the way that people are actually absorbing content these days. And that is, again, more independence, more authenticity, and a wider reach through web browsers and through just better channels and better access, not needing to have that heavy hardware. So I got a question. Happy Christmas. Jumping 3 years from now, what conversations what conversations are you having about YOM in its future? So in 3 years, wow, let's see. I would expect we're going to be doing more with the company that's doing the aggregation, right? We'll talk about ways to spread the aggregator out wider. We're going to probably look for, we're going to consistently, it won't happen in 3 years, it will have the kind of coverage we want to have globally, right? So it'll be like, okay, well, we're not seeing enough adoption, or we don't have enough nodes running in, say, Southeast Asia or Australia or something like that. So they'll be targeted. Like, how do we make sure that we target those regions? We also know that we like the idea of partnering up with games and selling a node license that's tied to a game developer's license, like oh, Tekken. Let's say a Tekken license would be a great license to be able to like just the collectability um, the name recognition. We'd like to be able to partner with games and with studios to kind of brand some licenses to them. I don't know how important it's going to be, but I feel like that's probably something we'll be talking about in 3 years' time. Um, and then there's also all those things that we say about we don't need to compete with the Epic Store or Steam. We can partner with them as open the funnel up to these larger games. So give people a sample to play before they download and install it on the high end hardware. That's going to be part of our future. And then, of course, yeah, I guess it's kind of it. I like the idea also of, we have set up in the background a foundation that'll help developers with seed funding and that kind of thing, so they can get their experiences up and running. We need to be more solid and have the network more solid before we really can put that whole foundation play into action. But I would like to think in 3 years' time we're doing a lot of sitting around, looking at proposals from people who want to take a grant, receive a grant from us to get content on the network. Again, not just gaming content, but social media content and commerce content. Hope that answers your question for you, Tony. And then it's curious because, we have a big play right now. It's 6:15 in Central Europe. I'm in the States, right? So it's just a little bit past noon for me. So we already have a big presence in Europe. We'd love to have expand that presence here in the States in the next. Actually, that's not going to be 3 years from now. That's going to be this year. This year, we're going to be making a lot larger plays into the U.S. market because it's a bigger market, and the bigger that we grow ourselves, the more yield that every node is able to get. So for us, it's important that we pull in these big studios. This is actually one that I'm going to probably leave it with this. But one thing that the community can do for us, if you're paying attention. If you know independent game studios, if you know somebody who's even just independent creator themselves, and they want to get their content onto a network that can reach anybody who has got internet access, have them research YOM and then get in touch with us. I think info@yom.oo is one way to do it, or open a ticket on our Discord. But we want to talk to those small studios, independent studios, the studios for hire. We want to make sure that instead of going after a single game and having our entire network be known as the Call of Duty network, that's not really our goal. Our goal is to empower a lot of smaller studios who are making very unique content. So we'd like to talk to them. If people who don't know, I've got going on 25 years now of game development experience. I like to think I've got a pretty good eye, but then because I've worked with some really, really talented people at some really, really great studios over the years. And learned a whole bunch. So I've got some kind of an eye, but I like to be in those conversations, and we're happy to talk to those developers. Cool. That was like 15 minutes. That's actually pretty good. That's kind of all I was hoping to cover today. It is Christmas. I am excited about where the New Year's is going to bring us. I think, again, we're not going to have a town hall tomorrow, and we probably won't have one next week either, just before New Year's, because, again, it's tough to line up people for guests before New Year's. It's been this actually. There was one other thing I was going to talk about, so I lied about saying I was going to get out of here. The Web3 space, right? We hear a lot inside of we do it in our own social media, but you see it in all of them. Like, be careful of scammers. Watch out for scammers. And it's tough if you're getting cryptos, and I've been doing crypto since 2017. The times that I got really close one time to get scammed. Somebody reached out and said, "Hey, we're looking for an artist to make some art for our game." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do some on the side. This is back before YOM. I'll do some freelance art for you, sure." So they're going back and forth, and kind of leading me into how it can be really big, and we can you do our NFTs for us, and then we'll do some game art. And I'm like, sure. They said, "Well, go to the site, you download our game and install it and play it, and tell us what you think." I was like, "Okay, I don't think I want to install a game. Can you just show me some videos of it running? It's like, no, 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 you want to install it, you want to install it. And I got to where I downloaded the executable, but before I clicked install, I'm like, are you sure you got like something told me that something was off. And eventually I figured out that they were trying to scam me. They're trying to, put some virus on my software. Anyways, it can happen, right? Even the smartest people, and I feel like I'm pretty well in tuned, can get pretty close to getting scammed or truly get scammed. I have too many friends of mine. I see it on Twitter. People I follow and things just get their wallets ripped off. Anyways, as bad as it is for individuals, it's equally or sometimes even worse for studios. We heard tell of an owner, a partial owner for another company had been, hey, meet me here and we'll sync up and, we'll talk about, which come to find out someone was using remote software to break into their phone to get what they thought was going to be the treasury of the whole project. I don't think it ever happened that way, but they recognized that this is what was going on. And we've had a few of those, people reach out to us and say, hey, meet me here and we'll talk about investing in your project. And we're like, no, we don't know you. We're not going to meet up with you, and certainly aren't going to bring our phones close by so you can grab data from it. And then one phone call was actually pretty hilarious. One of the more familiar chains, before we got hooked up with Peak, we thought we were talking to one of these more familiar chains. They got on a video conference with us, and they had the guy's image looked exactly like the founder. You could find his picture on LinkedIn, and they had video of him going in the video call. But before he started talking, his screen was blank, and then he comes up, and as he's talking, the lips didn't match the words. And then before he stopped talking, the video went out again. And eventually I realized that they just grabbed video of this guy talking, the founder of this blockchain, this layer one, and used that as a way to kind of convince, people that they were legit. And again, if your sniffer is not out for being scammed, it's rough, not just as an individual, but as a company as well. So, even during this holiday season, we get a lot of messages like, hey, reach out to us. We'd love to be able to promote you, or, hey, we would like to invest in you. And just know that we're fairly seasoned at this point. But if you're going to get involved in a Web3 business, kind of recognize that the scammers don't just go for individuals; they also go for companies. How you doing, nerd guys? I'm good to see you there. Always can count on you to be part of our streams. I think it's possible that you preloaded some questions. If you did, shoot me a question here. If not, I'm going to go ahead and make my way back out of the office and into the family life. I'm kind of dodging a little bit of family, but that's okay. They're not all here yet, anyways. All right, that might be it. That might be the whole broadcast today. Again, I'm super excited about where the next year is going to bring us. I did some. I do a fair amount of charting, and yesterday looked to me like there's a possibility that we're going to see coin dominance drop, which brings the altcoin season in. I don't know that I would say for sure that that's what's going to happen, but yesterday was a pretty good day for my portfolio personally. I'm hoping that that trend continues all the way through to the end of the year and then into next year. But I don't want to talk about just about what I'm doing. I think everyone who's in the space is kind of watching closely as what happens. This recent change in the U.S. Structure should make it easier for those of us who are in the States to participate, which is, I think, a good thing good for the whole sector. All right, man. Thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. I don't know how much I'm going to cut and paste and rebroadcast this one, but I just kind of felt like I wanted to say hello, Merry Christmas to everybody. A little more about the first few games that are coming. So you can look up K4 Rally and you can look up Domination. Both of those are in beta testing, and they're I think K4 Rally actually was originally built in Unity. They're switching it to Unreal so they can put on. Part of the reason is to put on network, part is it to make it look nicer than what Unity can do. So you can see lots of clips already of K4 Rally. Domination also it's in the Steam stores as a beta launch. What they're hoping to do with us is reach more people who don't have the high-end machines. And then the couple of experiences that we're having our partners at MVR make for us are one's a third-person shooter, and the other is another racing game. The third-person shooter is a little further along than the racing game. That's when we're tuning some more. But that's kind of the target there is to show what independent studios, what you can do with our network, and that's the kind of thing. Domination, D-O-M-E, like a dome, like put a dome over something. Domination, D-O-M-E-N-A-T-I-O-N. Yes, and it's Blackmouth Games is the name of the studio. Great guys. They're in Spain. They've been doing this for a number of times. It's a smallish team, right? But they've been working together for like 4 years, 5 years, something like that. They know each other really well, which is important for a game studio. Cool. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Christmas. Enjoy your New Year's if I don't talk to you before then. And we'll be in touch through all of our socials. Spread the word. Again, if you find independent, yeah, there you go. If you find independent studios, send them our way. Send them to our website, and then info@yom.oo.